This week I'm going to talk about proposition number 3, which is Article 6, Finance, Section 5, which is payment of bills, and really these changes are really just bringing us up to current practices for how we operate now. And when these bylaws were written many years ago, smaller staff, smaller budget. Now we've grown, we have professional staff here doing everything, so really it's just an upgrade to what we do now and the practice that we do now. And really, for the way the budget works and everything, the budget season starts for management actually in July. We start working on that. We bring it out to the Finance Committee and the Board September 15th, and then every Saturday pretty much all fall that Finance Committee goes through each budget line item, and we have to explain why we need that money, and any additional money that we might need, we have to explain why that's necessary. At the December Board of Directors meeting, the board approves the budget for the year, and that's really what our guide for the following year and the expenses that we have. So the department heads then, as they make purchases, they create a purchase order. They order the items. When they come in, they have to check those off and then submit that invoice with that purchase order. That is then reviewed by myself or John Wormuth, and then a check is cut. Those checks are then signed by, if it's under $1,000, they're signed by either John or myself. If it's over $1,000, a board of director member has to sign that. It's typically the treasurer or the board president that does that signature. So that's really how we do things. And at each month for the board of directors, there is a payment of bills section, and they have the bills that have been paid or need to be paid that have been submitted within a window there. And typically that's right after the last board meeting up to about a week before the next board meeting. So some of those bills are paid, some of those bills still have to be paid, but it's a review by the board to look at those. If they have any questions on why we paid this, or what is this, or why is this in this line item, they have the ability to look at those and question management on that, and we have answers for that. Practice 10-15 years ago used to be that they would bring the checks to the board of directors meeting and they would be signed at that time. We can't do that anymore. Obviously, we can't pay the bills once a month, and if you look at the difference between the May board of directors meeting and the June meeting, there was 6 weeks, so we can't wait that long. So this is something we do every week, and then that report is given to the board so they can review those. We also have, if we go over line items on the budget by 10% or $1,000, the Finance Committee gets a report that is line items over budget. And for that, management needs to explain why we went over budget. And those things do happen. This past winter, with the amount of snow and ice that we had, the amount of salt that we had to buy, plus we had to buy salt from the third parties. So that line item is over budget, and we report that. We say it's over budget. We now try to make adjustments within other line items in the Public Works budget to make up for that. So there are things in place to make sure that if we do go over budget, those are out there for finance. They're for the board. Those are in the board packet so the membership can see. And we have that budget that we have to, that's how we work, and that's what we know we have to spend for the year. So that's how the whole budget process works for that. We also have a change in the proposition for checks, switching that to just payments. That would allow us to do ACH. Right now we do write checks for almost everything. We don't do ACH, but if we could do ACH, a lot of companies are asking for that. A lot of companies don't want a check. They don't have to wait for that. So there'd be a procedure in place where there's still we still have to sign off for that. Board members still has to sign for any over 1,000, but it would give us that ability, which is more in line with how things are done these days.